What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be previewing Port Adelaide versus Gold Coast this Saturday night for round 17. It's going to be a big clash because Gold Coast are going to have a lot on the line, especially with all the reports about Stuart Dew coming out this week. They're going to come out and want to prove a point for their coach, while Port Adelaide coming off of one of the greatest escapes, winning 12 in a row, and that was against Essendon with an after-siren goal thanks to Dan Houston. So it's going to be a fiery clash. I think this one's going to be a little bit more enticing than people would expect. So let's get straight into it. Let's preview round 17. Yes, so Stuart Dew, obviously from reports, those reports being from Caroline Wilson, is looking to pretty much move on Stewie Dew and get in Damien Hardwick or another coach because he hasn't been performing to the best of their ability. And look, they didn't perform great last week against Collingwood, but that tends to happen. You play the best side in the comp and you're going to get towed up, and now you come up against the second best side in the comp at the moment, and that's purely based on ladder positioning. They're going to want to bounce back and prove a point. They obviously will be coming over to Adelaide, so it's going to be even more of a difficult task. They haven't travelled too well at all. They haven't won at the Adelaide Oval against Port Adelaide. They haven't beaten Port Adelaide since that first ever game come 10 years ago. 12 years ago now, sorry, back in 2011. So this game is very much against Gold Coast here, and for Port Adelaide's sake, it's 12 in a row. They'll be looking to notch up the lucky 13 or unlucky 13, every way you want to look at it. It's a game that I sit here as a Port fan and probably be overly confident that we should win, and I expect to win, especially with the calibre we've been playing at. And yeah, last week we came off the bye and played probably one of our worst games of the year. But yet to still get the win, it's just belief, it's just confidence. So we're going to have to come out this week. I think we want to make a bit of a point that we don't just win in close games. We can win the big games as well, and we've done that. It's been a variety of wins across the 12 games, but I think coming up against a Gold Coast outfit that want to prove a point, if we can shut them down early and really nullify any sort of momentum they want to get from their motivation itself. Obviously, they're a very good chance to get Took Miller back this week. They're going to dominate in the ruck with Jared Witch. They're going to have a lot of advantages come with, in particular us losing Scott Lysette, which is probably the main focal point for this week. It does become a little bit difficult to see exactly what we can do. Now, we have a couple of options. Do we run with Dante again this week? I think the late call-up, he looked a bit frazzled. He comes in, wet game, looks a bit clumsy, looks a bit lumber. Just not the game you want to debut. You want to prepare yourself. You want to be mentally right. He was just thrown in there like a dart. So I think in that sense, you probably want to give Dante another chance. See if he's anywhere near a chance to be ready for AFL footy. Obviously, he's not at the level, but there's no excuse in giving a young kid an opportunity, especially in a game like this where you back out the rest of our playing group to do the job. It's worth a chance. What I'd love to see is us just run with Dixon and Finlayson as the two ruck cohorts, or Ollie Lord comes in for a game. I do feel like going with Sam Hayes as an option for 1 to 2 weeks is a bit risque. I don't think... obviously, we know his tank is a proven point. Now, he is a genuine good tap ruckman. That is something we probably want to have with our midfield that's going on at the moment. He had his best game in the Sandford on the weekend. I think notched up 43 headouts. So he's in the bracket. I think he's in the conversation. I'm not sure what they'd do. I'd love to stick with just Finlayson and Dixon, throw in Lord in there. And, Todd Marshall is your mainstay at home forward. And I think we can mix with that, especially with the weather not looking great for the weekend. I think it's supposed to be quite dewy and wet. And that's probably a game that's going to suit having a not a standard ruckman. And Witts, we did this last year, and Witts absolutely dominated against us. And then Dixon came into the ruck and nullified that influence that he had in the second half. Obviously speaks for itself. Last year we won by 2 points in a close game. So I think, again, that's probably going to be one thing you look at, and do you want to really try a player for 2 weeks? Do you really want to give them an opportunity, or do you just risk it, run with Finlayson, run with Dixon, and just wait till Lysette comes back in a couple of weeks against the Pies, which is looking the likely case with his little knee injury that he's got going at the moment. The other thing as well is you look at a couple of factors. Players did have quiet games last week. And whilst we did win, you might want to look at opportunities where you look at the Sandford and think, all right, you can come in. Narkle definitely came in, played a solid game. Wouldn't say it was the greatest of games, but again, he's been brought in as 2 late-ins twice in a row now, so hasn't really cemented a spot. Does Rioli come back into the side? Does Dersma come back in after injury? Does McEntee go out for a small forward? It's just, I don't want McEntee to go out, by the way. Everyone had a pretty shitty game. Like, if you're going to throw out McEntee last week, you throw out Bogue, you throw out Horn-Francis, you throw out all the players that have pretty lackluster games. And I don't think we react like that. I think we react to what an injury causes. We keep the momentum, keep the consistency with our team, and that's all we need to change. Because at the end of the day, on paper, we win this game. It's just mentality, applying ourselves for 13 wins in a row. And it's a tough ask, but we have belief and we have momentum at the moment. And at home, before a pretty crucial run, this is a game we have to win. It's a pretty quick preview. There's not a lot to discuss. Other than the one other thing I will discuss is Orazio Fantasia's situation. There's a report come out that he's wanting to leave, go back home to Essendon with a lackluster opportunity in the AFL team. And he wasn't picked when he was in pretty good form in the Sandford. But there is just every chance he gets that actually might be looked at, he gets injured. So I don't think that's a real reason to suggest to go back home. And I think he's just been pushed out by players that have been consistent. McEntee's been great. Pau Pepper's playing a great position. Darcy Ben-Jones has been fantastic down forward. I think overall, he's just not taken an opportunity when he got it. And every time he's gotten an opportunity, he's gotten injured. So it's a report that I didn't particularly like hearing, because I feel like we've been there the whole time with him, trying to get his body right. And now he's sort of, if it's true, sort of throwing it back on us. So interesting situation to develop there. In terms of this game, though, I'm going to tip Port Adelaide by 26 points. I think we will it won't be a cruisy. Gold Coast will be pretty competitive. But I think our team is just going to notch up win number 13. We're going to keep our run at second place, and we're going to keep building into next week, which is against Carlton. And then the biggest game of the year is going to be against Collingwood. A lot to face, and I hope we don't look forward to that, because we look forward to each and every week. But that's a pretty enticing fixture. So looking forward to see how this all develops. But first, let's go over the Suns. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, Port fans, for plenty more AFL and Port Adelaide content to come your way. The Glass Table episode 18 is out now. A new website called The House of Footy. Make sure you check that out as well. They'll be across all my socials, in cohort with other upcoming AFL journalists, and also Jake Hudson as well. We're going to be looking at pure footy content, so jump on that and make sure you like and follow all of the socials there as well. My name's Anthony. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, can't pair.